Hello, I'm Super Orange Cat here. I'm today to talk about Fena Pirate Princess Episode 11. I'm going to start with some things I did like about this episode, then go into some things I didn't really like about this episode, and then just tie it up with a big bow at the end and give my final rating on this episode. First, I want to go into some of the things I liked about this episode, which was basically most of it, especially the scenes that took place in Eden. Now, one thing I said was one of the weaknesses of the show so far was Fena as a character. And that's still true to this day. But one of the things I keep forgetting to mention I thought was maybe the strongest suit of the show was Abel as a character. Because you actually found a way to create a villain that's more than just, I want to kill for money. He's actually the exact opposite. And you see this like when all the other British soldiers go and see all these treasures and they all get like amazed by it. And you have like the fat little general running in front. He just pulls out his rifle, pulls out his pistol and just shoots in the back of the head. It's like, okay, if this is what you're here for, then I'm going to shoot you too. Which shows that he isn't in it for the money. He was in it for something bigger, something deeper. And you have to give him a lot for his commitment. Because of how much he loved Helena, he did all this just to see her again. And at the end, fortunately for him, he dies in Eden, which means that his spirit is stuck there, which means that he gets to be with Helena forever. And I thought that moment, that like 3 minute sequence from like right after Yukimaru cuts off Abel's arm, right to the point when he embraces Helena again, I thought was some of the best well choreographed anime I've seen in a long, long time. I could not praise that scene enough, and it really honestly, and I don't really get that emotional for anime, but I really felt something during that scene. I really loved how they did that. And again, and it was probably a rare instance of them balancing shonen and shoujo just right, that it felt perfect. It felt great. And other stuff about this episode, I liked particularly how the Goblin Knights were reacting, because you have a continuation of them reacting to the treasure in the throne room, especially the twins, Kaede and the other guy, I can't remember his name. How they're like playing Pretty Pretty Princess. They're putting on all the jewelry, pretending to be royalty. I love that scene. And especially liked how you have Tsubaka, I forgot his name, just talking about like, I'll get you the prettiest dress in the world. I thought that was just a funny joke. I really liked that. Again, and the humor did not interfere with the actual seriousness because it was literally separate scenes. Like you had like seriousness of like Yukimaru and Fena up in Eden, them reacting to seeing Noah's Ark there. Another thing, that was another interesting detail they added. And also Shitan kind of prowling around, seeing all these treasures, including probably the most notable treasure he found was the actual Ark of the Covenant there. But I think that was in the last episode. You see him reacting to the Ark of the Covenant being there, and also seeing the Sword of Kusanagi also there. And I liked also how like everyone made this big deal about the Sword of Kusanagi, but it was just thrown in as a small irrelevant detail, like, oh, there's the sword right there. And I like that because it shows that this journey became more than just a search for treasure. It became this big personal thing for Fena. It became this big personal thing for Abel. They weren't looking for treasure. They were looking for something bigger, something greater. And that's something they both found and ended up achieving in Eden, which I really liked how the show did. Now, some of the stuff I didn't like, only one thing I didn't like, and that was the exact ending of this episode, and that is the reveal of like Cody not really being real, but being like, oh, I'm the narrator, I'm the person overseeing your mission. And I'm like, oh boy, because I am hoping this doesn't turn into a lot of this really was just a simulation. You choose your own journey. And honestly, it feels like probably a setup to season two. Like a season two of like oh, she found this, but she's going to have a real adventure now. She's going to actually learn how to use a weapon. That's the one thing I did not like about this. It's like she's had two opportunities to like pick up a sword, do something to physically defend Yukimaru. She could fail and it would still make sense because it would show some type of maturity in her character. But instead it kind of falls into this trope. She learned to stand up for herself by using her words. And I felt like it could have been better shown by her trying to fight, and she wouldn't stand a chance against Abel. Abel had his arm cut off and still gutted Yukimaru. This guy knows how to fight. She would never stand up to him in battle. And also, you just still, again, this thing back about Cody, like, the whole, like, and also how he showed up to her as her father was, this thing that just got me. Like, have you ever heard of the old movie Contact from the 90s? One of the twists is that, oh, that's not Jodie Foster's father. That's an alien. He just took Jodie Foster's father's form because it would be comforting to her. And everyone thought that was just a stupid twist at the time. And that's what it just reminds me of. But again, maybe this, because every time the show's hit like a juncture where the plot could fly off the rails, it's found a way to stay on track, which is why I'm really loving where the season's gone, because it's made basically, when it's hit a juncture, it's made the right choice just about every single time so far. So again, I'm excited to see how this ends. What do you guys think? Leave your comments, leave your opinions down below. I appreciate the input. I'm Super Orange Cat, and that is all.